and walk away. Now we had the restart, and now this is where you see Jake Lewis with a really good start there with Corey West, his teammate, right behind him. And then you see Corey have a couple little mistakes there as your Spoli rides around the outside of him out of turn 7. You see Dominic Doyle on the Yamaha, Cody Wyman, Corey Alexander on the arch. We've seen him inside the top 5 for the first time, but James Spoli makes a move down into turn 1. Next lap, same thing on Jake Lewis, able to make the move and make it stick and hold on to a victory and keep his title chances alive going into this afternoon.
Into the final race this season for Spoli, very much the rider in form, Roland.
Yeah, absolutely. James has been showing his stuff since Laguna Seca, and he is looking at trying to win this championship. He has an opportunity to do it today. How many points is he behind Corey at this point?
6 points is the difference, as we see here, for James Spoli, the rider with 3 wins in a row. And Corey West, still our championship leader, but only a 5-point advantage between himself and his Saddleman teammate Jake Lewis. So it really is right down to the wire here. This is a winner-takes-all battle, effectively.
Yeah, winner takes all. I do think that Corey has an opportunity to win, even if he gets second. If James Spoli wins the race, he may be able to still win it, but it really is a winner-take-all affair. In the last race of the Super Hooligan Series, 9 races down, 1 more race to go, and winner takes all.
Yeah, and you can see there just how you can earn your points through the course of this weekend's racing, and 25 points for our race winner. That's what we had for James Spoli in yesterday's race, but for Corey West, Rog, we were able to see there just those 9 points for 7th yesterday, but every one of those points matters.
Yeah, and for Corey, he just struggled a little bit yesterday, and he's going to try to rebound this afternoon if he can. He had a good warm-up this morning down there in 3rd, a little bit closer to the front group.
Yeah, I was out for a watch this morning up at the Keyhole, and looked like he was finding a lot more confidence. And after what we saw yesterday for the number 1 plate, Roland, really important to have that confidence right from the start.
Absolutely. You have a race like yesterday for Corey West. You start asking questions. You think you've got it all kind of where it needs to be. You'll lose some points, but he's still in a position to do this. He's sitting 5 points ahead of everybody else, but still winner-take-all situation for these guys. You want to do nothing but be up at the front in this race, and you don't have a lot of laps to do it.
Championship point number 2 for Corey West, but the opportunity for 2 other riders to be in the mix. And Rog, when you look at this field making their way around, you can see them get ready now for a 7-lap race here in the Mission Super Hooligans class.
Mission Super Hooligan National Championship coverage is brought to you by Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. Roland Sands Design, built for the ride. Go to RolandSands.com. By Harley Davidson and the championship-winning Pan America. And by Permco, a leading manufacturer of high-pressure hydraulic gear, vane pumps and motors, flow dividers, intensifiers, and accessories.
The field making their way around this 2.4-mile circuit. And Rog, when you look at this circuit, where are the key places for the Hooligans like?
Key places, turn 1, where we've seen Spoli making his moves yesterday, and turn 6 as well. Those are the biggest passing zones. Turns 2 and 3 is where we've seen the trouble off yesterday's start.
Roland, when you look at the Saddleman team riders there, obviously Jake Lewis on the front row of the grid, Corey West on the second row of the grid. Both riders can win the championship, but we know that Spoli, our pole sitter, is the form rider. Will Saddleman have had a discussion between their 2 riders about what they need to do?
It was really each man for himself at this point. Trying to make team orders when you're this close and both have the potential to win the championship. Everybody for themselves. Elbows out, let's get her done. I think that was the discussion last night, is let's beat James.
Every man for themselves and every agent for themselves as well. Rog, you'd imagine that there's been a few discussions that have been had about what to do with the bonus money if there's a championship on the line.
It's tough, a tough position. That's what you want as a team, but it also, man, it makes it tricky.
See here, 32 rider field for this 7-lap race, and James Spoli, Jake Lewis, and Dominic Doyle were our podium finishers yesterday. Roland, who's going to win the championship?
Oh, shootskis. I've been asked that question quite a few times. Man, it's hard to bet against James, but he's got a little bit of a gap he's got to deal with there if Corey does finish second. But I'll tell you, we could have a couple spoilers in this fight today for the lead with the Yamaha Dominic Doyle and Corey Alexander on the arch yesterday, showing his speed on that first start.
Yeah, Dominic Doyle in the middle of the front row in the number 25 machine. You can see the arch bike there for the 23 of Corey Alexander on the second row of the grid. The best performances we've seen from Alexander through the course of the season, is here at the final round of the year, and it all comes down to this last race of the year in the Mission Super Hooligans class. It's James Rispoli on the pole as the red lights come on and go out, and it looks like a great start once again from Jake Lewis from the outside the front row. The number 85 gets himself into a position to take the whole shot into turn 1. Corey West, our championship leader, is in 3rd position, and it looks like James Rispoli, our pole setter, in 2nd spot. Our top 3 in the championship, 1, 2 and 3, and Dominic Doyle in 4th as Corey Alexander tries to attack down in towards turn 3 and up towards the keyhole, and the arch bike trying to move into the top 5 spots, makes that move nice and clean. But Rog, we've got our top 3 away at the front.
That's what they're going to try to do. See Dominic Doyle trying to get into the draft of the Harleys. Look at the arch bike there in 5th. Going to try to make a move on this back straightaway.
Let's see now for Corey Alexander using that draft on the run down in towards turn 6. We'll see if he's able to attack. Not quite close enough, but Corey West looks like he's close enough to try and ghost a move there alongside his teammate as Corey Alexander goes the long way around the outside there, Roland.
Yeah, he's making his moves early. That arch is doing work. It's up against these water-cooled bikes. It's the only air-cooled bike in the championship, and Guard and the team at Arch have done a fantastic job putting what is this weekend a brand new version V2 of the Arch on the grid and showing its promise right away.
Yeah, really impressive performance from the Arch bikes. We've got 2 on the grid this week with Jeremy McWilliams up there in the points as well.
Corey
West tries to attack his teammate Jake Lewis, gets down the inside, but is Lewis going to have the line now to get him back as they cut back across each other down in towards the final couple of corners? Look at Corey Alexander though, Rog. He looks really competitive.
Really good. That bike looks amazing. It looks like he can put it anywhere he wants on the racetrack.
And we see the riders come across the line for the first time of 7, and it's still James Rispoli out in front. Jake Lewis on the 85 in 2nd. Corey West on the number 1 plate is in 3rd, and Corey Alexander allowing the front 4 to break away. Alexander's the wild card in all this.
You know, Corey and James are good friends. I'm sure if Corey can get a wheel in there and put himself in a position to help James out, he's going to try and do that. And James, yeah, it could happen for sure.
I think he'd be willing to lend a hand right until that last lap if it's 1-2 for them. But Rispoli out in front, and Corey Alexander trying to make the move on Corey West. Down the back straight up to use that draft, holds that inside line on the number 23 bike. And Corey West, though, really late on the brakes there to hold off Corey Alexander. As once again, though, Alexander able to carry that roll speed, Rog.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as this race winds down if Rispoli's out in the lead and Jake Lewis is 2nd a little further back. What are they going to do with Corey West? Because if he gets 2nd, he wins this title.
Yeah, just in the 5th spot there as well. Dominic Doyle matching the pace of the leaders, slightly faster than some of the riders in that lead group, just bringing himself back into play here on the number 25 bike in front of Travis Wyman. But the front 4 do have a little bit of an advantage now. It was one second at the start of this lap, but you can see for Rispoli just withholding that pressure, not blinking at this stage, Rog, but it's going to be a long race for 7 laps whenever you've got a championship to be decided.
Yeah, and he knows Jake there right behind him is going to take a shot any opportunity he gets, and it looks like those 2 are slowly pulling away from Corey.
Corey West hasn't had the pace for quite a bit of this season. It's been a lot more difficult rolling than it was last year for West when he was able to claim that number 1 plate, but still our championship leader coming into the final race and fighting as hard as he can. We saw that last lap round when he defended from Corey Alexander.
Yeah, I don't think he felt like he had the bike underneath him yesterday to do the job that he needed to do to retain that points lead, well, to retain a bigger gap. But
see what Jake Lewis can do here. Looks like he's got a good run out of the keyhole, but for Rispoli, he's still got those couple of bike lengths in hand and still able to hold them off. Corey West, though, coming back in the draft compared to his teammate, the 85 of Jake Lewis. We've seen it a few times with Corey West on the number 1 plate, very late on the brakes, down into 6, still able to get that bike stopped around the outside of his teammate. Great move from West. That's how you earn the 1 plate.
Last lap, Jake Lewis had the fastest lap of the race at 29.4. Not only is that a race record, that's an outright track record as well.
Yeah, and for James Rispoli, the race leader, only 300 of a second slower, so the pace at the front as hot as it gets, and it is still Rispoli on the 43 plate out in front. 6 points is the gap between him and Corey West in the championship standings. As it would stand, Corey West still in position to take that championship by a point, but we're not even halfway through this race. And you can see for
KR watching his boy out there trying to do work and get himself into podium position.
Corey's riding really well here at this stage as well. We saw in yesterday's race, Rowan, great start in the initial staging of the race. In the second restart, didn't make a good start, but still came through the group to be able to give himself a chance for top 5 finish.
You know, like Roger was saying, I mean, it looks like Corey can put that bike just about anywhere he wants to. They got the suspension working really well, and that new chassis is definitely doing the job for Corey Alexander.
And you can see here for Corey West, under pressure from his teammate Jake Lewis. This is where we saw Lewis strong last time around against James Rispoli, able to hold that tighter line compared to Corey West, and gets in underneath his teammate. We'll see what the drive's like on the exit of turn 4, down towards turn 5 and the kink in the back straight, and Corey West just about able to keep him at bay there, Rog.
You see Corey now knows what he needs to do. He's fighting hard with his teammate. Really strong on the brakes. Look how much he closes down the gap.
How he gets in there so hot and gets the thing turned anyway.
And the big thing as well, he's able just to open up that little bit of a gap to Jake Lewis behind as well.
And Corey West with a 29.1 on that last lap. He is flying. That's the fastest lap of the weekend by 3/10.
Yeah, and again for James Rispoli, new personal best last time around, 0.2 of a second slower than Corey West, who gets attacked there by his teammate Jake Lewis. And this is exactly what Rispoli needs. He needs those two Saddlemen bikes to fight with one another.
And this is what we built the Super Hooligan Championship for, was this type of scrap, this type of battle. And neither Jake or Corey are giving an inch in this one. And it's going to be interesting how this plays out if James actually does pull a gap. If his teammate could potentially let him by.
3 to go now at this stage of the race, and for Rispoli, another personal best last time around. Jake Lewis actually 1/10 of a second faster than the race leader with his personal best, and Corey West down into that 3rd spot. And Rod, you can see for Jake Lewis on that 85 bike just how much he manhandles this machine as well. Gets himself all over the top of the bike, and you can see the size difference between him and the other riders around him, but does such a good job on this bike.
He needs to do a good job down this back straightaway and get a nice draft. See Corey West using all of the racetrack and then some.
Let's see what West's able to do on the run down into 6 as well. You can see similar gaps between the race leader Rispoli and Jake Lewis, and then the number 1 bike. But once again, we see that West trying to be as deep as he can into that corner. But this time around, it's Jake Lewis that's able to make up the bike lengths and get himself into a position to attack James Rispoli. And Lewis knows that if he wins this race, he wins the championship. And you can see exactly what his game plan is with 2.5 laps to go. Just piling the pressure on here in Rispoli, and this is where it's really difficult for James as well, Rog. You know that you're under pressure, you know you're under attack, and you know you have to win the race.
Yeah, these two are kind of pulling a little bit of a gap on Corey West. We'll see if he's able to, last sector of this track, able to close it down.
And just coming down in towards those last couple of corners now, with 2 laps to go when they come across the line. And it's a 2-rider fight at the front right now, because Corey West just that little bit behind right now. But Jake Lewis with a mistake, that's going to let Corey West come through. And the Saddlemen bikes change places there. James Rispoli now with 2 laps to go with a healthy lead over his pursuers, and Corey West on that number 1 bike still in his position to win the championship. And Rog, this is where it is now a case for the Saddlemen team. They know that Corey West has the chance to win the championship. Big time to make up now, and James Rispoli with 2 laps to go.
It's going to be tough to make that up. Almost a second lead.
Jake Lewis looking so strong too. What a shame he made that mistake.
You can see there through this section of track, once again, through 2, 3 and into 4. That's where his bike's working well, and he's got the draft now to give himself the chance to get alongside his teammate Corey West. But we know that down in towards turn 6, West is strong. West needs to make sure he's able to hold off his teammate, but look at Jake Lewis getting that inside line and able to get himself back up into P2. Corey Alexander coming back into this fight as well, and it's a problem for West. And that is our championship leader, our reigning champion. He's out of this one. And for Corey West, no chance to win the championship. James Rispoli now in the championship winning position, and the gap between Rispoli and Jake Lewis as they came across the line last time around, 1.1 seconds.
And the Arch bike on the podium.
It's in a podium scoring position.
And you can see for Corey Alexander with the 23, a look over his shoulder, just seeing where his rivals are right now. It's Dominic Doyle behind him in 4th position, and the 85 of Jake Lewis trying to press on as hard as he can. He's got round about 3 miles left in this race to make up that margin and get through on Rispoli. And Roland, we saw how strong he was in that first sector. He is going to close back some of that time.
It's a big gap he's going to have to put in the lap of his life if he wants to win this championship.
You can see there for Corey Alexander coming through on the arch bike on the podium. Dominic Doyle had a podium yesterday in the Yamaha, and in a position to attack once again. Corey Alexander with a look over his shoulder. He's going to see that Dominic Doyle comes down the inside and makes that move into turn 2, into the chicane. And we'll see if Alexander is able to come back at him. We saw him strong through turn 6 into 7 earlier on in the race. We'll see if he's able to set something up. At the front of the field, though, 0.8 of a second is the gap between Rispoli and Jake Lewis. And Lewis trying to answer back where he can, Rog, but that gap's still comfortable right now for James Rispoli.
James is blocking a little bit as well. Look how deep Jake is on the brakes, trying to close up as much as possible.
In that first sector, Jake Lewis lost a couple of hundredths of a second to the race leader as well. The gap 0.9 of a second between them. Jake Lewis, the form rider in the middle of the season with those 4 wins in a row, but James Rispoli on course for his 4th win in a row, and that all-important 25 points that will make him the 2025 Mission Super Hooligans champion as he moves into the second half of this lap. And Jake Lewis just doesn't look like he's got enough to be able to answer back, Roland.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought this outcome would have been possible pre-Laguna Seca, but Jake losing out on those 2 races is making, you know, that's the scenario that we're running right now. Corey West not being able to do it, and now we got James Rispoli looking at his first Super Hooligan National Championship. 1 more corner to go.
4 wins in a row for James Rispoli, and that all-important 25 points gets him the 2025 Mission Super Hooligans Championship, and a great performance in the second half of this year from James Rispoli. He takes the win by 3/4 of a second from Jake Lewis. Jake's put up a good fight through the season, and those injuries, Rog, from Laguna, that's what he's going to look back in and see. But Rispoli can look back at Road Atlanta and think the same as well, and it's a long championship. And we saw for Corey West his technical problems yesterday and today, and overall during the course of the season, you'd have to say that the form that we saw from Rispoli at the end of this year thoroughly earns that championship.
3 brands inside the top 4.
Yeah, it's
just
great.
Shows you the rules and the more bikes coming in. How
Dominic
how close
Doyle
it
back
is.
on the podium again. We see a Yamaha on the podium again. So, man, in the arch right up there, Corey Alexander with an opportunity to finish on the podium. Didn't quite finish it out. Dominic showing promise on the last lap to get by him.
Yeah, double podium for Yamaha this weekend with Dominic Doyle. Great end to the season for him in the Super Hooligans class, and he's had a good year, but it's a great year for James Rispoli, finishing off the year in style. And when you're able to rack off 4 in a row, Roland, we're really able to see just the confidence that he has. Yeah, the Wyman team has shown their progress throughout the year, and they really crescendoed here at Mid-Ohio with a double win from James Rispoli in the championship. I'm going to head down to the podium to congratulate these guys. Thank you so much for a fantastic season, boys. Great job all the way through the year, Roland.
Mission Foods Super Hooligan National Championship.
Enjoy yourself down there in the podium as well. I'm sure that for James Rispoli, Rog, we saw yesterday just how much it meant for him to pick up that race win. This championship is going to be celebrated.
It's going to mean a lot, and you know this. Racing is a lot like other sports. You talk about teams that get hot when the playoffs start. And racing's the same thing. It's important to get hot when it matters most toward the end of the year, and James is the guy that did that. Yeah, James finds that form when it matters and is able to take the 2025 Mission Super Hooligans Championship. Great performance by James Rispoli. 4 wins in a row to wrap up the championship.
Mission Super Hooligan National Championship coverage is brought to you by Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. Roland Sands Design, built for the ride. Go to RolandSands.com. By Harley Davidson and the championship-winning Pan America. And by Permco, a leading manufacturer of high-pressure hydraulic gear, vane pumps and motors, flow dividers, intensifiers, and accessories.
James Rispoli rolls down pit lane, and Rog, when you're able to get a championship like this, he's only led the championship for these last couple of laps effectively, but these are the only couple of laps that matter. You can see for our champion down there what it means for James Rispoli. You can also see the other side of the coin, unfortunately, for Corey West and what it means for Corey as well. It's been a tough season for West. Obviously comes into this one having led the championship, but it's been a very different campaign to last year. Yeah, and for Corey, you see the frustration. He wants to, if you're going to lose it, you want to get out there and battle it out till the end. And James, though, has did a great job keeping his head in the game, and the team, as you mentioned, they had some problems at Road Atlanta, and they kept fighting, and now they're the champ. Yeah, and for James Rispoli, that 4 race wins in a row comes with a margin of 0.8 of a second over Jake Lewis at the end. Yesterday it was a second between them, and Dominic Doyle able to back himself up with another podium finish. That's 2 third-place finishes this weekend to wrap up his season. And once again, able to get himself more into the fight here over the course of the 7-lap race. We saw Corey Alexander in the arch bike able to come away with a top 5 finish in 4th position as well. And Jeremy McWilliams, the other arch bike, up there inside the top 10. But let's just listen in to James Rispoli down there at the podium.
Hogger! Yeah! Good job, buddy.
Good job for Rispoli. I think it's a great job, you'd have to say, Raj, with what he's been able to do.
For Corey Alexander and the arch bike, they're only 1.7 seconds from a victory. They're getting close.
Yeah, and if you had said that at the start of the year at Daytona, you would have had long odds on that. But for Corey Alexander, able to wrap that year off with another top 5 finish, 6th in yesterday's race as well. As it is, the championship is won by James Rispoli by a 4-point margin at the end from Jake Lewis. And Corey West came into this race with his 5-point championship advantage, ends up 19 points back in 3rd spot, and then Travis and Cody Wyman round out our top 5. Good performance by Dominic Doyle at the end of the season there as well, Raj, and 32 of his 87 points coming this weekend. It's a really good end of season for Dominic.
Yeah, really good. 2 podiums this weekend on the Yamaha. It just shows you the steps that they've been able to make throughout the year. Jason Waters and Andy DeBrino on the Triumph, 7th and 8th. Corey Alexander, 9th. Hakmanzada on another Yamaha.
Yeah, good effort to be able to see all those different manufacturers there as well. Obviously, the Hardys at the top of the field over the course of the season, but we've had plenty of other manufacturers able to get in the mix here in the Super Hooligans class. And you can see Corey West down there just to offer his congratulations as one champion to another. But for Corey, obviously it's going to be tough, Raj, but able to show some good sportsmanship down there to offer his congratulations to our champion. And Michael Hill's down in the podium area as well as we get ready for the plate presentation for our champion.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. I'm down here with a pretty big crowd here at Mid-Ohio. What about in Mid-Ohio? Let me hear you make some noise. So we're going to come in and we're going to have a chat in a second, but before we do, I would like to invite the Chief Operating Officer from the AMA, Mr. James Holter, to present the #1 plate to the 2025 Mission Super Hooligan Champion of MotoAmerica, James Rispoli.
James Rispoli, congratulations on the 2025 Mission Super Hooligan AMA National Championship.
And I think we can make a bit more applause than that, ladies and gents. He's just received the national plate down here. And James going to come in, and I know emotions obviously are high. You put yourself right back in contention with that win yesterday. A couple of races ago, I'm sure you still believed it, but on paper it didn't look like you would even be in contention. A double win. You are the 2025 MotoAmerica Mission Super Hooligans champion. Sounds good.
Dude, it sounds amazing, man. First off, I got to thank Kyle Wyman, KWR. These guys have put together a package that's been so good. Backed by Harley Davidson. You know, the Pan America is so good. But, you know, nobody was talking about me coming into the weekend, and it actually helped me. It kept the pressure low. The championship was on, you know, Corey's and Jake's head there. And I knew this race was going to be tough. I told you yesterday, these dogs figure it out quick. And, you know, all I had was those 29.2, 29.3. And every time in the braking zones, I heard these guys, and I heard the big open cylinder and the big exhaust from the Saddleman boys. And I was like, man, I kept looking at the tower, saw 85, and then I saw the 1, and I was like, dang, dude, this guy showed up. He wanted this thing. It's a shame that it had to go out like that. You know, I wanted to race, you know, square up. So the fact they had a mechanical really is a shame for the championship. But man, I'm stoked. I got nothing left. I was screaming the whole cool down lap. This just goes, you know, I know it's a Super Hooligan championship, but we put so much work into this. Everybody did. And, you know, coming from where I came from last year, this feels so freaking good. Hats off to my team, man. Elvis, Gene, for building these things in his freaking garage. Bob Wyman, Mike, all my boys over there. Everybody, look at that Factory Harley 10. Everybody's here to support me, and that just means so freaking much.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for your 2025 champion. Gonna move around now and speak. Let's get a nice round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen, for a valiant effort for Jake Lewis, who, on one hand, I'm sure you're going to be disappointed. That is understandable, but you gave that absolutely everything. You can go into the winter knowing that you didn't leave anything on the table.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, I'm disappointed. I wanted to win the championship, but I can hold my head high because I tried everything I had that race. You know, the thing was chattering pretty bad, and then Corey and I got to scrapping, and I was really where I wanted to be in second, and then, of course, I jumped into neutral going into this right-hander. I mean, that's the problem with this thing. You never know when it's going to go into neutral, and then I had a back shift to second, and by then James is gone, and just that's what I'm super frustrated about. It's a little bit of annoying. That's the common problem, but I just tried my best, and it sucks to get second, but second in the points. Congrats to James and KWR in the championship, but a big hats off to the whole Saddlemen race development team. They tried their ass off this winter, came up with a good package, and we just tried our best. You know, it was crazy Hooligan championship, the ups and downs. You know, I got on a win streak, then James has peaked and been hot at the right time, and we've all had our ups and downs, and that's part of racing, but just hats off to James. You know, it sucks for me, and I hate losing, but I try my hardest, and big thanks to Maddie, Ricky, all the guys at the shop, Bell Helmets, Mission Foods, 4-Star Leathers, Food Sport Boots, my mom, my family, Blair, my fiance, we're getting married in October, and that's what I wanted the championship bonus for, but James outrode me today. So thanks to everyone from Ohio for the support, and see what we have in store for next year.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, your vice champion, Jake Lewis. And let's keep that applause going, because this guy has bagged a double podium here in the season finale. And Dominic, podium yesterday. You had to work a little bit harder for that one today, but double podium, great job.
Yeah, I just got to figure out those first 2 laps and try and go with those guys early, because I feel like I've got the pace later in the race. So I pushed really hard to catch Corey and managed to pull a move on the last lap early in the lap and just put my head down and try to get away from him. I got to thank the whole GIAC Moto Yamaha Racing team, Jason and Ryan, for the whole weekend. Yamaha Motor Corporation, Liberty Street, Yoshimura, Alpha Omega, Champ School, Wetsby, everyone that helps us get here.
Great job from Dominic Doyle, and I just noticed out of the corner of my eye, Corey West. So while we're down here, we're going to see if we can get a quick word with Corey as well. Come in for us. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for the outgoing champion, Corey West. He gave that everything, and Corey, firstly, nice to see you down here. Great camaraderie between you and the other riders, but let's just get a few words from you. It has been a fantastic season. Didn't defend the championship, but my goodness me, you gave it everything.
Yeah, you know, the Saddlemen boys and I, we put our hearts in this, and yesterday we were dealt a crummy hand. You know, we had an old tire that just didn't work out, but we put a good setup in it this morning, and I felt really good in the race there and felt like I had something for James. And you know, when Jake was drafting me to come by me on the brakes, I felt the thing lock up. So just the mechanical is a bummer way to end the season, especially when if I would have finished second, I would have beat James in the championship by 1 point. But congratulations to James, congratulations to Jake. You know, those boys made me work for it really hard this year. And yeah, I don't know what the future holds, but I'm proud of our team. I'm proud of Harley Davidson. And, you know, I feel like we put a lot of development into this Pan America and really turned it into a weapon. So it's good to see it go back-to-back championships.
Absolutely. Thanks for the show this year. Ladies and gentlemen, Corey West. And with that, Steve, back to you upstairs.
Yeah, some great battling all the way through the season, and this race was no exception. The last 7 laps of the Mission Super Hooligans season come to a close, Raj, with an all-out scrap for the championship.
Yeah, and the championship was changing each lap. You see James Rispoli doing what he needs to do, get out front early on. The Saddlemen Harley boys there fighting hard as well. But look at Corey Alexander on the arch bike. You heard Dominic Doyle talk about the first couple laps. He struggled. You see how far back he is in 5th, and really from there it just became a braking duel here. You see Jake makes a move on his teammate. Both those guys were trying to be in position. You see Jake talked about catching a false neutral there. Made that mistake, lets his teammate back by. Then he fights hard on the brakes again down into turn 6. These two going back and forth. You can see the gap. They started pulling away for James. Corey West with his mechanical puts him out of the running. Dominic Doyle, great move into turn 2 to put himself in podium contention, and from there, Rispoli goes on to win the race and win the title.
You can see exactly what it meant for our champion, James Rispoli. And interesting, over the course of a 10-race season, all 3 of our championship contenders, 2 non-scores And for our top two in the championship, Rispoli and for Jake Lewis, 4 wins, 7 podiums apiece. And not a lot to choose between them by the end of the season, Rog.
They both had their issues throughout the year, but man, they put on some strong rides, though, with a lot of wins throughout the season, a lot of consistency.
Yeah, that crash at Laguna is what Jake Lewis will look back to and leave him pondering over the course of the winter about that championship bonus to pay for the wedding. But for James Rispoli, he can look back to Road Atlanta and his problems that he had at that round as well. And for Rispoli, you can see there just down to celebrate with his team as well at this stage, and really well earned from James Rispoli at this stage, Rog, because it's a difficult season whenever you come in and you're up against those Saddlemen bikes and the success that they've had over the last few years.
Especially the way that the year started for him. It's easy to get down and feel like you're out of it and kind of throw the towel in, but James and Kyle Wyman Harley team, they dug in. They fought back after a rough start.
Good people around him, and you'd have to say as well, after the crash in the baggers qualifying yesterday as well, would have been easy to let that get into your mind, and instead he's able to make it 4 wins in a row, and our #1 plate heading up onto our championship podium, and he'll take that middle step. And our 2025 top 3 in the championship for the Mission Super Hooligans class, it's James Rispoli that wins the championship, Jake Lewis second in the standings, and last year's champion Corey West third in those championship standings as well. It's been a great season for the Mission Super Hooligans class, and we've still got plenty more racing left here at Mid-Ohio, with the Super Sport class coming up next, then the Super Bikes, and then the King of the Baggers closing off our action here as James Rispoli gets his championship trophy, and well earned with those 4 race wins in a row, and culminates with his season finding form at just the perfect time to wrap up his 2025 Mission Super Hooligans Championship. And as ever, Harley Davidson strong in this class with 1, 2, 3 in the championship standings to wrap up the campaign. And you can see for Kyle Wyman the change of the plate on James Rispoli's bike.
It's not a perfect fit. It's fucking so perfect. It's real.